Gems of Gita. The four yogas. Each person, based on the proportion of the gunas, needs to be engaged in the karma he is best suited for. Now, karma or actions can be classified as karma, vikarma, or akarma. Now, karma or action means auspicious actions, and a person engaged in these actions performs actions which are good and acceptable, but they are unable to detach themselves from the fruits of the action. If they do not get the fruits they desire, they simply give up the action. Often such people experience dejection, sorrow, anxiety, and stress because they are only thinking about the fruits of the action and not the goal that must be reached. They definitely do not enjoy the journey towards the goal or the action being performed as part of the journey. Vikarma are the inauspicious actions, the prohibited actions. Such actions bring no good to the world, the doer, or the recipient of the action. These actions must certainly be avoided as they add no value to the world but result in destruction. Akarma, on the other hand, is that action which is performed only for the joy of the action, done only with the goal in mind and not for the fruits of the action. One is able to detach himself from the fruits of the action and only enjoy the journey because that is the true purpose of life. In today's world, where everyone desires instant gratification, engaging in akarma requires a lot of understanding. Simply explained, the moment someone puts their resume for a job in the organization, they want to know the feedback from the organization. People want instant feedback on the pictures they post on social media. Managers want instant responses from their subordinates on the task given to them. This is due to the urgency of seeking the fruits of an action and lack of patience to wait. This is probably why allopathy has gained popularity in a world where people simply want instant healing. They do not realize that illness is a result of the ill treatment of the body by not taking precautionary measures to prevent a disease. They do not want to act on changing their lifestyle to a healthier one, but instead are happy with the short-term solution provided by man-made chemicals and compounds. A slow-paced life has no room in the 21st century. During our life, we are constantly faced with the challenges related to decision making. Some decisions may have a long-term impact, others may have short-term implications. People often procrastinate. The reason for procrastinating can be attributed to the fear of failure or fear of performing the task itself. However, if one makes a rational decision without any prejudice or fear, even if the decision goes wrong, one will have the courage to accept the consequences of the decision. In management studies, it is often said that the decisions you take are not important. What is important is the execution of those decisions with full honesty, integrity, and sustained efforts. A person who engages in akarma is at the first step towards becoming a karma yogi, as he is in a state to only perform and not attach himself to the results. Such a person attains the power to remain equipoised in both results of success and failure, as performing the action is to please God and fulfill their life's purpose. The essence of the fourth chapter is that there is no alternative to karma. What choice a human being has is only the type of karma that he engages with. If the entire human life was to be described in one simple line, it would be the desire to acquire something or the desire to preserve something which is already acquired. We are constantly engaged in these two activities. So naturally, every action of ours is taken with a desired outcome in mind. Who is the desired outcome for? Is it for the body or is it for the soul? If the desired outcome is related to material things like, let's say, a house, a car, or lots of money, recognition, and fame, without having any consideration for the society as a whole. Such actions only please the perishable body. Such actions can be called as Nitya Karma or even Vikarma, if it is good for you but bad for the society as a whole. But if the desired outcome is like job satisfaction, impacting someone's life positively, doing something for nature or the environment, then the soul benefits from it, and these actions can be called akarma. Hence, the desired outcome which drives action determines whether a karma is a karma, akarma, or vikarma. All our activities and decisions that we take during our lifetime are keeping the future in mind. The future, which no one knows other than everyone's predestined future, death. What are the activities that we are doing for the future of our soul, which is Sanatan or immortal? Verse 24 of the Bhagavad Gita establishes the simple fact that everything in the world is the Supreme Brahman, and one needs to recognize and realize this. Every act is performed by the Supreme for the Supreme. In every breath of our life, we need to express our gratitude to the Supreme. One is advised to pray as soon as one wakes up and offer gratitude to the Lord for having given us another day to become closer to Him. One is advised to pray before every meal, realizing the power of God to help one to digest the food and convert that into energy to engage in more akarma. One is advised to pray before sleeping at night, thanking Brahman for being there and guiding and protecting in every step throughout the day. Krishna tells Arjuna the sacrifices a person can make to come closer to God. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Raja Yoga are the 4 yogas that are the path towards God. One may choose any of the 4 paths, but every path requires complete surrender to the Lord. What do we mean by this surrender? In Sanskrit, this term of surrender towards God is called samarpana. It is actually a state of the mind where one completely submerges his own identity with that of God and is unable to segregate the two. It is that state of mind where one realized that every karma which is being committed is actually not the individual karma but is being committed by the Lord Himself. Every act is done keeping in mind that God is part of me and there is a duty I need to fulfill towards the society, towards my fellow beings, towards nature. I am willing to sacrifice my personal goals, my ambitions, my efforts, my wealth, and everything else that I own for this samarpanam towards God. The Vedas define that there are 12 types of sacrifices that can be made by a devotee towards God. But the most important of these sacrifices are Dravya Yagna, Tapo Yagna, Swadhyaya Yagna, and Jnana Yagna. Dravya Yagna, it refers to the sacrifice of wealth to exhibit devotion to God. Swadhyaya Yagna means to tread on the path of self-realization with the help of scriptures. Swadhyaya, or understanding the self. So in a way, the Vedas and the Upanishads are self-help books which can be read and understood by one who has the mental capacity to read and understand the teachings. On understanding the self, one realizes God and attains the knowledge that every action performed by them is only for God. Such a person is a karma yogi, and in their action one can see beauty and divinity. Such a person is completely detached from the results of the action and is doing every act only as an offering to God. I can give you a lot of examples. The best example is that of stalwarts from the field of music, like M.S. Subbulakshmi, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Pandit Hariprasad Chaurasia. Such persons engaged in the musical journey not for the material returns that they were bestowed with, but exclusively for the love of music, and they saw God in the music they engaged in. That is why the music still enthralls people from all generations and remains in the heart and mind of people long after they have left for the heavenly abode. Similarly, scientists like Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam or Sir C.V. Raman, they devoted themselves to the world of science and upliftment of humanity and the country. Science was their devotion towards God. Every person can and must engage in activities as an offering to the Lord, and I assure you, they will experience bliss. When the intention of action is right and is done with dedication, it has to automatically heal the world. Sacrifice performed through knowledge and with devotion will burn away all sins and lead to salvation or liberation. This is an inspirational story of Otto Raja, who has rescued more than 10,000 homeless people from the streets of Bengaluru in the last 2 decades. Otto Raja underwent a transformation from a criminal in the dark cells of the prison to nothing less than a saint, a Masiha for the people who need hope. In the prison, he resolved to lead a purposeful life, devoting himself to humanity and to God, and has lived up to it very sincerely. Regular contact with God through prayers can lead the way for people to engage in akarma, and you can attain salvation and bliss. We can also take the case of the reformed Valmiki, who used to be a dacoit and then later, through the paths of the 4 yogas, went on to compose the Ramayana. Finally, towards the end of this chapter, Krishna tells the qualities required in a student. A student must be humble, curious, and respectful towards the teacher. The student must be willing to serve the teacher by further sharing the knowledge that he has been bestowed upon. To make it clear, we can say that the student must be agile and curious like a crow, have focus and concentration like a crane, have the alertness of a dog, and must engage in lifelong learning. Only such a person can be called a true student. A teacher must be a person who has achieved self-realization and is willing to share his or her knowledge without any expectation of a desired outcome and with complete devotion. A person who only has knowledge but hesitates to communicate or share that knowledge is not a teacher. And a person who has the desire to share knowledge but has himself not attained the complete knowledge is also not a true teacher. In the last and final verse of chapter 4, now that Arjuna has the knowledge of the Supreme, Krishna urges him to arise, awake, and engage in his rightful action. That is, to fight this war and to fulfill his dharma as a Kshatriya.